Okay, Mayor, we're ready.
Ready? Okay. I'd like to declare this meeting in session. It is April 13th, 2021, Morgan City Council meeting. I'd like to welcome everyone here. Those who are by way of Zoom, those who are out there on YouTube, thank you for joining us. So we'd like to have Ty, if he would bring up the flag, and Ty's gonna lead us in Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll ask Eric to give us an opening ceremony.
No,
No, Ty? Okay. Did you click on the one she just barely sent an hour ago? She sent one an hour ago. Try and just click
Can you
on
hear
it.
me, Denise?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Are we ready now, Mayor?
No, that one's good enough. Use that in there. That was one for tonight, for now.
Nope, we're not ready yet.
I think Tony's trying to log in.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you guys sending these wins from Morgan? That's all I want to know.
Or you should be able to click and say, click enter, join the meeting.
Okay, there's Tony. He just showed up. Okay.
Denise said she got you. Denise has got you, she said. Okay. Okay, we're ready.
Okay, please rise and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before Thee at this time. We're grateful for the opportunity that we have to meet as City Council and discuss the workings and the needs of the city and the people who we represent. We pray for this beautiful valley and the people that live here, and we pray that as tonight we discuss the matters that we'll be able to, our minds will be open to the things that we need to discuss, that we can continue to move this great city forward. And we're thankful for the opportunity that we have to serve, and we pray that Thou wilt be with those service members and those who serve and protect our country, that they can be blessed. And we're grateful for our many blessings, and we say, sing in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Okay. Thanks, Ty, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Eric, for opening up for us. Denise, okay. We'll go to consent agenda. A chance to look at the minutes of the meetings, and I'll entertain a motion as soon as you're ready, or questions if you have questions on them.
Mayor,
Tony,
I have a couple of questions on the invoice register.
okay,
So the 45,000 to Doug buys Utah Homes, that's RDA, correct?
That's correct. That's the last reimbursement of the 3 grants that we had approved for the RDA.
Okay. Just a couple more, just curious, I underlined them, just wanted to. Meter Works, 78,000, that was for obviously meters, I suppose, right?
Yeah, so we have over 200 meters that are bad, that haven't been reading. We had, over the last several years, been trying to keep up with water meters replacing them ourselves one at a time, and the price is going up in, I think, June or July, so we went ahead and just said get all of our paid a company that's coming out to get all of our bad meters replaced. So that's purchasing the meters and install.
Whose water meters, Ty?
Yeah.
Okay. Then finally, just one other question. Over on page 4, it looks like. Rogue services. It says that there was what, $2,965, it looks like, on a water minor construction on the north tank repair. What tank is that? Is that the tank that that belonged to the that North Morgan Water Company, or is that tank?
I'm not sure if that's I believe so, but this is for SCADA work,
Skate installation.
SCADA systems, yeah.
Oh, is the city responsible for the upkeep of that tank, Mayor? The one that I guess we inherited it, so to speak, from that water company, that water.
Yeah, as I understand, that tank is ours, and we will need to do the upkeep or upgrades, increase in size as that becomes needed.
Okay, so it's that tank that's up that North Morgan Road, right? Up that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that bill there was just for SCADA installation and SCADA update.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions on the minutes or the budget or a motion? For the warrants?
Mayor, I've read both the minutes and reviewed the warrants and would move to approve the City Council Work Electronic Meeting Minutes of March 23rd, City Council Electronic Meeting Minutes of March 23rd, and the warrants of 3/20 to 4/8/2021.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
The motion to approve two city council meetings, electronic meeting minutes of March 23rd, city council meeting March 23rd, and one set of warrants from 3/20 to 4/8. Is there any discussion on that motion? Okay, so you now proceed to vote. We'll vote by all those in favor, give me a thumbs up. Okay, there's 5. Those opposed, thumbs up. Okay, 5 motion for that. The motion passes. We will accept the minutes and the warrants. Next time, Denise, anybody else for public comment? Okay, we don't have any public comments. We'll move down to item number 3. Mr. Crook, as in Mr. Clark, we'd like to turn time over to you so you can explain to us what the IPSA award is.
Oh, sure. Thanks, Mayor. In early March, we attended the annual meeting for the Intermountain Power Superintendents Association. That's the group that we're associated with that takes care of our apprentices and also takes care of our safety. Throughout the year, we send in our total hours worked, depending on the size of your utility, which we're grouped in with cities the same size as Monroe, Parowan, Manti, Fairview, and Spring City. And we received a first place award in Group A for having no lost time accidents within our electrical department. And they presented that to us at that meeting, or we presented them rather, because we're involved with that quite heavily. But anyway, they got the recognition for that. It's kind of we tried to tell the folks that received it to, let everybody know and thank their councils and the mayor, of course, for your support in this and helping us to become kind of a safety culture, along with the fact that if we wasn't, we definitely would be in the hot seat. But in this light, which is a lot better, we received the recognition because we didn't have any accidents. So it's a good award, good recognition that they give to us.
Comments from the council?
Clark, when was the last time we would have received that similar award?
It is an annual. It's an annual award. We keep track of the hours worked throughout the year, and we turn those in with the recorded events. You know, if we do have any accidents, we also record that. Like some of the other cities or whatever, they end up receiving recognition, but they have to list what accidents they might have had or how many lost time accidents. So each year it's awarded, tallied up on the hours that you've worked, and recognized depending on if you did have accidents or didn't. So you win a first place or recognition for no accidents, having none, and then some of the other utilities had 1 or 2 lost time accidents, and that's also recorded.
So David, I think Clark, Dave's question was, have we received this before, or what's our record in Morgan City of receiving that award? Or is this the first time?
Yeah, we got it last year also, 2020, and then I think the time before that, I see the ones around 2013, 2014, somewhere in there.
Okay.
So I don't know if that answered a little better.
Yeah,
Good.
that's great. We're on a roll. Keep her going.
I would
Thank you.
just add to that, congratulations to our electrical team, and to Ty. You know, this is no small thing. Coming from an industry that really values safety and looks at it closely. No LTIs or lost time incidents in a year in and year out. That's very commendable. And not only is it, you know, the pain or the suffering that someone might incur with an injury, there's also there's a financial aspect to it as well. You have lost time accidents and lost time injuries. So again, I guess maybe I'm really impressed by this because of my employment and my background, but kudos to our electrical team. And as I said, congratulations, because this is not a small thing. So way to go.
Thank you. We'll let the guys know, you know, and it's an everyday thing. I mean, it can be the smallest accident or it can be something very serious. So hopefully we continue to have that kind of a culture, and they take leadership from those that are over our safety department.
Other comments from the council?
Well done.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Well done, guys. Thanks.
As Jeff knows, as Tony's mentioned in the past, it's a mindset and it's a culture you create. And that culture sometimes, that culture is based on who's leading the ship. And that culture can be a culture of I don't care, we'll get by and risky, or that culture can be one of extreme safety. I know Ty's worked the whole city on that same concept with other departments as well in the last couple of years. Safety culture is one thing that I appreciate. I think the council does as well. So thank you for showing this to us tonight and bringing this to us, Clark.
Good.
Okay, if nothing else, we'll move to the next item number 4. We have several new employees, and we'd like to introduce those to you tonight. Clark, maybe we'll start with you and let you introduce your power folks, and we'll move to let Ty introduce the others, or maybe let Roe introduce his folks. I'll let Ty work on that.
But yeah, we have both the supervisors here, so I'll let them, we'll just go in order of what's on the agenda right there, Mayor, if that's
You bet.
okay. So, okay, go ahead, Clark.
Thanks, Ty. Thanks, Mayor. So we were needing a whole bunch more help, and just in time, we had announced, open up the job to get us a groundman. And the candidate that we selected out of we had some good applications, had some really good applications, and Caden Atkinson, who's with us now, floated to the top. We're just tickled to have him here. Maybe he can go ahead and kind of give us some background of where he's from and what got him here. And we're glad to have him, and thank you for your support for letting us get some more help.
Yeah, so my name's Caden Atkinson. I grew up in Kanash, Utah. If you don't know where that is, that's down by Fillmore. So yeah, I was working down in Wanship for Blue Sky Ranch, and I kind of figured, this has always been kind of the route I've wanted to go, and so I've been kind of watching, trying to find a good job in the power industry, and stumbled upon this one, and super excited and glad to be here. This is a super awesome crew. I love all the guys that are here and I work with and everything, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm glad and blessed that I was able to get this job.
Caden, did you relocate to Morgan? Are you living in Morgan?
So yeah, I found an apartment here in Morgan. It's on 100 North. It's that brick triplex, I guess it is. So yeah, yep, I found a place to live here in Morgan, and so yeah, so I'm pretty close.
Good. Welcome.
Hey, Caden. Caden, are you a Millard Eagle?
Yeah.
That's where I was. Yes, I was a Millard Eagle.
We won't hold that against you then, Caden, all right?
I'm glad. Yep. And I guess I needed to add too, as well as I'm getting married May 18th. So I guess that's another thing I can add to the list now.
Kind of a big thing you can add to the list, actually.
Yeah, I'm still I guess I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still processing that whole thing.
Don't worry about it. You never will. Just go for it.
Will do.
Welcome aboard, Caden.
Thank you.
Glad to have many more questions for Caden. So Ro, we'll let you, if you wouldn't mind just introducing Porter next, and then Blake, and then Ty. So we'll just follow that order.
Yep, absolutely. I was pretty fortunate to have a few guys apply for this full-time position that we've got, and Porter was our first one. Porter, I'll let you introduce yourself and say a little something about yourself.
I'm Porter Rich. I've been living here for 26 years, and my the job that I have right now is great. It's a great opportunity. I do appreciate everyone for helping me and helping others out. And that's about it. Thank you, guys.
Tell us a little bit about you. Where you're from? What do you like to do? What do you do in school? Tell us a little about you.
I went to Morgan High School for 26 or before 26. But so anyways, I play basketball for Adult League, men's in Morgan. Unfortunately, Corona hit and no basketball. um, I like working with my hands. I like hands-on work. I think I do a lot better with hands-on than anything else. So I'm glad for Roe for picking me. Thank you. That's
Okay.
that's it.
Okay.
Hey,
Anything from the council? Question or thoughts from the council?
so Porter, with your last name there and graduate of Morgan High, you got to give us some genealogy for your parents and grandparents.
Oh,
And you can't,
David, I don't know if we have that kind of time, do we?
Well, yeah, just go back 2 generations.
you can't get more of a Morgan name than Porter Rich, so.
there's a lot of Porters.
Who's your mom and dad?
My mom and dad is, well, my dad is Clay Rich
Okay.
and my mom is Lee
Okay.
Base or Lee Hall. Yeah. I have one older brother, one younger,
Okay.
and then I have 2
Yeah,
families.
we know who your grandma and grandpa are too then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Anything else from the council? Okay, Ro. Go ahead.
Okay, the next guy that we hired, his name's Blake Rich. Blake, I'll let you introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
My name is Blake Rich. I've lived in Morgan my whole life. I worked for UDOT for 30 years, retired there, a lot of experience. I do a little small ranch or farming on the side. And I decided to come to Morgan City. I enjoy helping people out in the public. That's what I missed about UDOT when I retired. I enjoy being able to help the public. This is one of the ways I figured I could continue to help the public, is be a part of Morgan City and part of my community. And there's a great team of people that I work with here, and I'm glad to be part of it. I hope I can contribute a lot to Morgan City and the community, and with everything I can. My parents are Ivan and Dina Rich. That's Porter's grandparents. Porter lives in Milton. I live up in Porterville across from the church. But I'm just glad to be a part of the community and looking forward to helping out, being a part of the team.
So Blake, if you're the uncle, that means you can boss Porter around?
No. Yeah, but that's Roe's job too. You know, I don't want to take his authority away from him or his power. So
yeah,
I'm no better than the 3 of you guys. So
you know,
nope.
We're just there and we work together and we help each other out.
Absolutely.
Somebody needs to do or something that benefit them, why we let them know, and vice versa. If they see something I can do or do better to change, they let me know. And it's all about teamwork and pulling together to get the job and serve the community.
Absolutely. Welcome, Blake.
Thank you.
Anything else with council for Blake? Okay, Ro. Next up.
Our newest hire, he's only been here a week. His name is Ty Lopshire. We stole him from UDOT as well. So I'll let Ty introduce himself.
All right. Well, my name's Ty. Grew up in Huntsville. Lived here my whole life. Glad to work for Morgan City. That's about all I got. I like to team rope, hunt, fish, just about anything.
You'll fit in.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yep, right on.
So I do have to say a couple more things about my guys. It's been a real crazy couple weeks. Trying to get everybody situated and trying to meet each other. And I wanted to thank them publicly. The three guys work really well with each other as well as myself. And, every day I thank them 1,000 times, but I wanted to thank them publicly. We've accomplished quite a bit in the last 2 weeks, and hopefully we can continue to do that. So great set of guys. So.
Good.
That looks like the A team.
Mayor,
Yes.
so probably a silly question to ask, but so are all three of these employees full-time?
Yes, sir. Ty, do you want to get a little philosophy where we're headed, Ty, and the sharing we're doing? Blake used the word teamwork a couple times. And under Ty's leadership, Ty Bailey, not Ty Lockshire, under Ty Bailey's leadership, we've moved to full-time scenarios rather than part-time summer help. And Ty, I'll let you explain some of the background on that and how we're going to share duties back and forth across the other departments. To me, it's been a positive change that we're making from our prior staff. So Ty, I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, so we've just been working together as a public works department. And what's interesting is we won't be hiring any seasonal employees this year. We have all full-time, but one of the ways we restructured is the Parks and Cemetery Department is going to take care of all of the grounds for the other departments. So they get paid proportionately for the grounds. So we now take care of the parks, but we take care of all the sewer, instead of everybody having their own properties that they tried to take care of and hire their own seasonal people. Now we have more of a team approach where they can all go hit the sewers in a couple days, do the parks, of course. And I'm not exactly sure how Roe ended up getting all of the division of labor, but we went and assessed how much time it was going to take to maintain the property that the water department had, that our own facilities, the maintenance on the shop, and then divide that out so that we have some full-time people. And we weren't exactly sure when we put the jobs out what we were going to be able to hire, but we feel really good about the people we've been able to pick up. So anyway, that's kind of the strategy there, if that makes sense.
The part that I'm interested in or I'm excited about is in the past, we've been kind of departmentalized. Each, EMD took care of their own selves and they didn't necessarily cooperate as I would like to see it happen. So I'm excited this concept now with Clark aboard, with Roe aboard, with Lance aboard. These gentlemen are willing to utilize help back and forth as needed, where needed. So it's more a team approach, more of a public works approach rather than a departmentalized approach. To me, that's exciting. The exciting piece about that I see in the direction that, again, our staff is moving toward.
And to kind of help Ty out a little bit, Ty Bailey, he mentioned that he wasn't sure how I got the hours and the percentages. What I ended up doing is I sat down with all of the supervisors and went through everything that their seasonal employees do and what they would also like done on a monthly basis. Each department head gave me a list of a few things at each location that they've got. We assessed the time it was going to take, and then we broke it down from there. So that's kind of how we worked out all the percentages. As far as schedule goes, instead of, in the past, we've had one guy work on the cemetery and a couple guys on the park and a couple guys, we've kind of spread out. With this new team approach, we're actually going to tackle one location in a day or two versus have one guy by himself in that location for a week. So in fact, we've tried it out for the last 2 days. We've helped the water department for the last 2 days, and we accomplished more in those 2 days than the seasonal employee could have done the whole season. So it really works out fairly well so far.
So in the old days, the water department, I guess it was up to them to go down there and take care of the wellhead and the grass surrounding it and that sort of thing. So the change is that will fall to you and your team now, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we'll do all of the wellheads, all the grass, all the fence lines, all the tree maintenance, in water department, sewer, roads, and power, as well as the parks and cemeteries. Yep.
Can I make one other comment, Mayor?
Sure, go ahead.
Hey, thank you for putting that rock over there in the entrance to the Riverside Park. Those 2 little dirt spots there, putting that rock in there. Thank you. That looks a lot better, I think. Appreciate that.
So we've got some projects going on. I've talked to my guys about, their opinions and stuff. We've kind of, we're trying to change things up a little bit and change a few things in some of the locations. That was one of the big things. I absolutely hated those pine bushes. So I talked with Ty Bailey about it, and we decided to do that. We're also going to change I don't know if you guys have ever seen I call it the rock flower bed in front of the playground. We're actually going to change that one up too. So there's a few things that we're going to change out and try to spruce up the city a little bit.
Great.
Anything for the rest of the council on the new employees? Okay, all right. I appreciate team approach. I appreciate the efforts and all departments working together. And to me, that's a better way to do things than what we've done in the past. So thank you. Again, for each department head being willing to do that, as well as Ty being able to direct and direct that. Okay, anything else there? We'll move on then to item number 5 on your agenda. It's the PEHP medical and dental rates. There's one sheet in your packet that talks about that. Ty, I'll turn that over to you. The rest of your employees, you're welcome to stay if you want, or if you want to check out and leave, you can do that. Your choice.
I just told them they were welcome to cut out now, so.
Yeah.
In fact, one of them left his truck running, so he wasn't planning on staying any longer than he had to.
Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Go get dinner.
While they're leaving, council's probably noticed they're all together there in the council room. So you've seen that, we can talk about that later. It's equipped for lots of kinds of meeting settings. Okay. Down the health insurance rates, they've come in. You got a sheet in your pack on rates. Maybe I'll talk with that sheet mean just a minute and Ty, you can talk about some of the savings you've already experienced. On that 1-page sheet, PEHP medical benefits, basically our medical plan as we have it has this next year, the renewal is going to be 5.4%. That'd be the increase for our current plan. You can see those prices there. Underneath that talks about the RX or the drug option. That's not an additional percentage. That's included in our medical plan. We currently have option A of the medicine or the RX option. We're using option A, which is part of that. So that's again part of that 5.4%. Down lower on the sheet, it shows you the current dental plan. The city does not offer dental plan as part of the benefits. If the employees wish to have dental, they pay for the dental portion on their own. So that is not a part that we do pay for, we do offer at this point. There's a dental plan is an employee choice, employee self-funded if they should want dental plan. Tony, anything that you want to add, or we entertain questions from the council?
No, just a reminder, we did kind of a thorough review of all of the different options, different plans 2 years ago. So I'd just like to do that every couple of years, not every single year, because that took a lot of work. And I feel like that this is a reasonable increase. It's well within our budget. I would mention that with the insurance buyout option that we started, we're still saving quite a bit of money. And then on these new hires, one of the new hires doesn't, because he's already retired and he's not getting any insurance, or we're not paying into a retirement plan. So that's some cost savings. And then, we got a couple of employees now on a double instead of the family rate. And so budget wise, I don't foresee that this will have the 5.4% should be funded within our current budget with no problem. So.
Questions from the council? Go ahead, Tony.
Ty, I just wrote myself a note here. How many have waived it? Or how many?
3.
3 have waived it?
Yep.
The Ty, the PEHP, is that a private insurer? Is it government related?
It's a government group. So
Okay.
it stands for Public Employee Health
Plan.
Health Program. So
And then on the rate sheet, we've got the local government risk pool. Is that part of the same
that's,
program?
yeah, that's what we're a part of. So we're part of all of the local government. So you have state and then local government.
Okay. And that rolls up into the PEHP. Is that just a state of Utah program, or is it nationwide? Is it federal?
I think this plan's just a Utah plan.
Okay.
And so, you think, of a little city like ours with 14 employees, if we were on our own insurance plan, and we wouldn't be able to get the rates that we get belonging to the larger pool.
Sure, it makes sense to pool. Absolutely. Thank you.
I refresh my memory on this. So when an employee chooses to waive the insurance, then we're paying them half of what that insurance would have cost us. Is that correct?
We pay that employee the single rate.
The single rate, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that clarification. I couldn't remember. I'm sure how we did that.
Yeah, any other questions on the? Go
And
ahead.
again, Ty, thanks, and tell all the staff thanks for, that's where the safety award kicks in. Less we use the insurance, the better it is for everybody in the pool. So, the whole safety culture in the city, and it's there when we need it. And I hope we don't do things to use it more than we need to. So thanks for your efforts and all of the employees' efforts to keep it 5.4%. That's not bad when it comes to insurance increases.
Actually,
Yeah,
you
Ty?
mentioned, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, question. I can't remember. Do we pay for any family or just for the employee only?
We pay for family. So if it's,
The full amount?
yep. Yeah, or double. So if it's just a married couple, we pay that premium for everybody.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we did, or just a percent. Thank you.
Yep.
When we pay the 100% of the premium, the employee doesn't participate in that.
Yeah, so the ones that participate, we pay 100% of the premium. If they opt out, we pay the employee the single rate to not be on our insurance. So we did this 2 years ago, And what we found is we had people that we were paying, the full family rate just to be a secondary insurance, so it just didn't make any sense. And this way it's a benefit to the employee, an incentive to not be on our insurance, but the savings to us is significant, so.
Yeah, good move.
Anything else, Eric? Anybody else?
Really, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think that rate increase it's an increase, but could be a whole lot worse, so.
Okay. Jeffrey mentioned a minute ago as far as safety as well as how it ties into these rates. And maybe Tired Denise can refresh my memory. But a while back, we received a benefit check that came back to us because of our safety and the health people. They're promoting safety as well. They understand if we're safer, the health insurance pays less out. The insurance company, their big push they have also is safe. So yes, Jeffrey, they do dovetail in. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that cost savings is on our property and workers' compensation insurance, so.
All about risk.
I don't think there's any action need. Denise, you can help clarify this for me. I don't think we need to make any action on this tonight. This is merely information, I would think, or do we need to prove this?
In the past, you approved the rate increase.
Okay, so what we would approve would be the rate increase will be the part we approve. Okay. If there's not any further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the rate increase as presented.
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Moved by Tony, second by Jeff. Do we approve the rate increase for our PHEP health benefits of 5.4% to continue the health plan as we have done in the past? Any discussion on that motion? Okay, seeing no, proceed to vote. All in favor, the thumbs up. Okay, any opposed, same sign. With five in favor of passing that motion to accept the 5.4% increase. So thank you for that. Okay, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is item number 6, which is the consolidated fee schedule we talked about last time. You got a chance to look through that. If you have any questions on that or not. Last time, a couple of questions we had. One was on what we should do with the conference room. That was from page 1, what we want to do with that. The other question we had was back on some of the rates. With that, some of you are invited to come see the conference room. Tonight you saw some of the people in that room. I guess I'd open the discussion and that you have a thought on the council room rental on that first page, what your preference is on that.
Ray, I think I was the one that brought up at least to begin with, the rate discussion on the room and the recommendation that, the council would visit with Ty, which I did. And it's impressive, the work that's been done. It gave me a better feeling, a better understanding of, what we have there. And I think the rates that you propose support that.
Okay, I appreciate that. The question we asked, do we want to allow it to be rented at all, or do we want to take it off the sheet totally? We can use the rates that are there, or we could take it off the rate sheet or change that to certain types of rentals rather than open up to anything. Additional thoughts on that, David, or any other council member?
Yeah.
Mayor, go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead, David.
I think with the rates that we have, and in particular, and I can again appreciate why we have a a deposit for that. But I think my feeling, I think it's a suspicion would be that we won't be renting it a whole awful lot. At that point, it could, then you say, well, do we even need the rates on there? Should we just not make it available? So I think with the rates that we're at versus not having it would be comparable. Now, if there's some variations in between those two, we could talk about those.
Further comments from the council, Tony?
Mayor, I was always an advocate of letting people go in there and use that room. I thought that, it's taxpayers that build it, want to be able to use it. However, after having walked through there last night with you, Mayor, I looked at all of the digital equipment and all the technology that's in that room right now. I think I did a 180. I would not be comfortable, especially renting it out to a group where there was a lot of children or, running around, perhaps getting into things. So I'm almost of the opinion now that we just take it off the table and we don't rent it unless, there's extenuating circumstances, and maybe we could look at it on a case by case basis, but there's an awful lot of, expensive equipment in there, and that's for sure. So that's kind of how I feel about it. So my two cents.
Eric, Jeff, Jeffrey, thoughts?
I guess, we had this discussion a year ago when was it the Boy Scouts that wanted to come use it? Has anybody even inquired about it in the last year? I know we were in a pandemic year. I don't know how much it got used before. I'm not sure we need to open it up and let people in with the technology that's in there. And, if we have community things that need to use it for Fair Board, or, some of the stuff we talked about last time, that there's people there that can handle it and will watch over it. I don't know that we need to rent it out to birthday groups. I don't know who else would use it. I guess that's my 2 cents.
I think I'm a lot the same way. I went up and took a little tour of it with Ty, and it is an impressive room. I think it's going to serve the needs of the city very well in the future. But if there's a group or organization that wants to have a place to meet, maybe we can work something out with that specific group or individual. And I mean, you'd really have to know what you were doing in order to run all that technology anyway. You'd need somebody in there, I think, to even help you, or somebody to coach you at least to get you through what you're going to do. So at this point in time, I think we just take it right off there. And if there is an exemption or something we need to make, we make it in the future in case by case scenario. I said we just delete it right off the list, because I'll be honest with you, I don't know who's going to pay $50 an hour to be in there. So that's my thoughts.
I'm good to just remove it off the sheet too, Mayor.
Yeah, it's not a huge room to begin with, so
No.
it's and I'm with Eric. If particularly if somebody civic minded, the Fair Board, maybe the chamber wanted to have a little meeting in there, I think we could. I would propose we just handle it on a case by case basis as well.
I think that gives us the opportunity to see what the demand is. If all of a sudden we're getting several requests per month, we can always reconsider. But I just don't think it'll be there.
To give you an idea, Denise can answer that better than the rest of us possibly. In the past year or so, Denise, what kind of requests we have for the room? You told us the Mary Kay group and anything else?
That's pretty much it. Some people will make a request. They'll come in and see the size of the room, and then they don't use it. They don't call back. So usually it's just that one group that was using it.
All we've had the Mary Kay group coming in to share their Mary Kay ideas or sales, whatever, and they did have their kids with them running around. That's all we've had use it in the last year is the Mary Kay group.
Mayor, there was that other group that used it for a web meeting, right? I can't remember what it was, the IFA or
Do they use a conference room or do they use a small room?
No, they use this bigger room.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
But
So,
they didn't rent it out though.
no, they just used it. So it's, I'm comfortable with where the council's heading with it. And it will be interesting to see, because of the technology, if that generates interest. So if someone's gonna have a corporate board meeting or, you know, just something along those lines and they wanna be here in Morgan, we'll find out if there's anybody that wants to use it or not. So we can deal with it then.
Okay. So you feel comfortable taking off, or you want to leave it on with the added verbiage of meetings that require use of the equipment, and I think you need to have somebody on staff be there to help run it.
I'd say we just remove it for the time being.
Here'd be my question about that is, let's say I needed to meet, I wanted to use that room, I needed the technology, so I make the request. Well, at that point in time, if my meeting started at 7 o'clock at night, let's say, as a city, we have to have an employee stay in there till 7 through however long that meeting was going to last to help operate the equipment? I mean, that would be an added expense.
Yeah, I think you'd feel better if you did.
I would.
Yeah.
Or you let them use the room and don't allow them to use the equipment if they don't need it.
I just say remove it.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's when we'll remove it. I think David's suggestion is first to monitor, see what happens to the kind of requests we get. We'll let Ty bring those back to us if we have some. Okay. All right.
That sounds great.
Any questions on the rest of the fee schedule? You look through that, any other questions you've got? Basically, the change are those in yellow. As Ty mentioned before, this is a living document. As things come up, we can change it in the future. It's not balanced, we vote on it. These changes that occurred here are those that have risen out of our inspection program for new developments. Most of these come about due to that need for fees for development purposes. Questions on any of those are in there?
Mayor, I underlined a couple of things if you.
Go ahead.
Walk me through the net metering real quickly. So we charge an $8 charge, base charge, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then of course the rate is the same as everyone else. Do we let those with solar, do we pay them back for power that they have not used that we have in our system? Do we have a rebate or a payback? I can't remember how that works. Refresh my memory.
Yeah, so if they overproduce, then we buy it at the wholesale rate. That's one we're studying right now, Tony, because the hourly market rate is down to 2.7 cents. It's power we've already purchased on, based on our source. And so we're, in the beginning, it made sense because it was more in line with what the market rate was, but there's so much solar now in the market that it's almost zeroed out the price of power. And so we're currently buying it for more than the market rate. And it's also offsetting power that we've already purchased. So we don't need, nor do we want additional solar. It's fine if someone puts solar on their house and offset their own usage, because the benefit to them is they're not using the 10 cents an hour, that we charge. But to go the other direction where we start buying power back from them, there's some cities that have zeroed that totally out. And I think Rocky Mountain's down to like 1.5 cents, and we're still paying 4 cents.
So having said that, Ty, I guess this is the crux of my question. it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to start rebating or paying back our customers that have overproduced when we're paying them more than what we're getting it on the market. So is that price, that 4.5 cents or whatever, is that in an ordinance or an agreement, or where is that written?
It's just part of our rate, but that's subject to change at any time. So when people connect, we let them know, the company, usually the company sells them that you can make money on this instead of just offset your power bill. And then we just let them know this is our rate in Morgan and it's subject to change, just like any other market rate. So that's something we're doing some homework on right now.
We want to zero that out as well, Ty? Or
we could do that at any time. If you would like to have more of a study, we can do that. Right now, what I know is that the market rate average right now is 2.7 cents per kilowatt hour. And then there's just some cities that just put it at zero. They just say, we just don't buy back power. Go ahead and offset your costs. That's fine. But it's a kind of a double whammy when they put power back on our system at those hours of the day when we don't need additional power.
2 o'clock in the afternoon.
So,
Yeah.
so is this something we need to discuss in the future?
Yeah, we're planning on bringing it back next month. So we've had a couple of new customers this month, and I think it's a lot easier just to zero it out, just because we don't need it. And those time of days, there are a couple people that are now installing with batteries, which is fine because then they can put it on battery and use it when they need to. But they're just offsetting their 10-cent cost at any time of the day. And we don't need to worry about, if they're putting power back on our system. We've already purchased power to provide them. If they don't need it, that's great. We can use it with other customers. So personally, I think my suggestion moving forward just to zero that out, because then we don't ever have to go back to adjust or pay. I don't think it's a matter, do we want to charge 1.5 cents or zero? Just paying zero makes sense to me because at any point we don't need the power, and why would we buy it for
Twice as much?
less than what?
Okay.
So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. If you want to zero that out, I would support that. If you would like just to get more homework done on it, that's what we're currently doing. So.
And then Mayor, I have one other question and then I'll be quiet.
Go ahead.
I'm back to the construction permit for long sprinkling systems. From culinary to secondary to culinary. Do we do any of that? Or have we done that in the past much, Ty? Went and made those changes?
Sorry, say that again.
I'm on the lawn sprinkling system, we have the rate from culinary to secondary, $50, secondary to culinary, $100. I'm wondering, how do we know that people aren't doing that anyway without our knowledge? I don't know. Quite frankly, the whole idea scares me a little bit because of backflow and the possibility of contaminating our culinary system. That whole issue there of changing from culinary to secondary to culinary, that could be pretty devastating, fairly costly as well. So I don't know. I don't know if that would be a detriment to people to let us know that, if to charge them for that, or is it that big of a deal? Do we see that often enough to worry about it?
Yeah, usually there's not a lot of change back and forth. The people that aren't going to let us know aren't going to let us know regardless, and we, do find out about things like that. So I would say maybe it's more of a, how do we deal with it on a penalty on a back end than worry about the rate up front. We do need to charge a little bit because it does take our time and effort to make sure that connection happens appropriately. So I haven't really worried too much about it. It's at the point of development is really when that gets decided, more so than people changing their strategy. But maybe this year when water's really low, depending on what happens on the secondary system, maybe we run into that scenario more than we have in the past. I'm not sure.
This fee that we're talking about, so if I want to move my secondary to culinary, this says if I come to the city, I have to pay $100 and then I just go ahead and do it. Is there an inspection on that when I do it? Or?
I would think that verbiage ought to be an inspection fee rather than just the way it's worded. You got to word the inspection on it, it ought to be an inspection fee.
Yeah, and that's what we use it for. So
I would add the words in their inspection fee. The other thing we may want to add is on that blank line there would be a penalty for those that we find out have done that without inspection. And as Tony's right, there's a big risk to that when somebody does that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we have any penalties on our spelled out for that.
That bottom row talks about a fine for backflow cross connection. Fee to be assessed by the city council, the way it states it there on page 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So amount wise though, I'm not sure we know, what the impact or what would be an appropriate fee other than what would be discouraging, I guess. I don't know, has the council ever gone through that process?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so that's,
yeah, I was just wondering about it as well.
yeah, I don't know.
We've just been warned about the possible complications if there was a problem.
Maybe we could ask Gary, does Layton have any similar penalty for a cross effect like that?
Cross connection.
Yeah, I was just trying to look up our code. I know that we added something to Morgan's code when Jamie was here regarding cross connections because they're very serious, and there's a provision in here regarding penalties for cross connection, but I haven't found it yet.
Yeah,
Layton does have serious penalties for cross connections, and every connection to the system has to be viewed by an individual from the city to make sure that cross connection does not occur. And if they don't receive that inspection, there's a penalty for it. So I'll take a look at the code and see if I can find that for you before the meeting's over.
yeah, perhaps we could model ours after yours.
well, and it looks like ours is just left there. So maybe based on what damage occurred on an individual basis, if it's a whole subdivision or you had an impact to neighbors and there's maybe some litigation even involved in something versus, this was just you just contaminated your own water in your own house. So I don't know. I don't know that we've ever done the penalty side of it. So
Yeah, it's 8.08 of your section. It was a whole section added by Jamie, and there are some significant penalties on the back end. Let me just see what those are. It's pretty extensive. So there's a fine. And that fine is to be set by the city council. I'm not sure, I can't remember what that, I know that we've done that, but I'm not sure what that is at this point. And it's also a misdemeanor, Class B misdemeanor, which is 6 months in jail and 6 months in jail or $5,000, up to $5,000 in penalties. So it is significant if they're caught connecting it up without complying with the ordinance.
Mhm.
And it is pattern after Layton's. I think most jurisdictions have the same cross connection provision simply because it's a problem all across the state.
Do you feel comfortable ours is adequate as is, or does it need review? I mean, it's clear we need to study it. I mean, I do. I'm not familiar with it, but
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the date on this, but I remember going over this with Jamie very carefully, and
okay.
they actually track the standards of AWWA, which is the national standard for cross connecting or for water
Mhm.
associations across the country, and they pattern it after that, and so it's pretty good.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I guess my thought was rather than have 50 from culinary to secondary to culinary, I mean, I would feel much more comfortable. I know this isn't going to happen, it's pie in the sky, but I certainly would feel much more comfortable for anyone who's going to do this, either way, that the city would require an inspection to make sure it's done correctly. That's, that inspection may have a fee attached to it, but anyway, that's just my thought on it.
But isn't that what the fee is for the inspection? I mean, we could call it an inspection just to clarify it.
Yeah, I would just call it an inspection fee.
That's easy to identify. We should expect to get paid for our time, i.e. the inspection. So maybe we just need to change that to say inspection.
So do you want to take the words where it says connection permit and then it lists those two? So that to me looks like that's the permit fee to come out. Or do you want to change permit to inspection fee? You see
So,
what I mean?
so help me here for just a second. So the $50 or the $100 what is that exactly? Is it an inspection fee or is it a permit fee or? So if I'm going to make a change, secondary to culinary, what would be my protocol? I would walk into the city and say, I'm going to make this change. Here's my $100. And then the city would come out and inspect it while I was doing the work. How does that all play out?
I think it's just a permit, so it includes everything. We haven't separated out the inspection necessarily, but I think it just includes the whole thing. So we're probably, I mean, you got to look at, if you go to secondary, you probably have to make sure that they have the water rights transferred, or we have to communicate with secondary probably to make sure that the meter and all that's in place. I really don't know the ins and outs of what it takes to allow someone to go from one to the other. It's something Jamie's probably just always handled. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm fairly confident that that fee doesn't cover near our costs of making that happen. So it's not just an inspection.
Yeah, there's a whole section on testing and inspecting in the code, but the device has to be independently inspected and approved by the city before we actually allow them to put it on the system. The device that actually makes the change or makes the switch. And then there's an inspection that has to occur by the city and a permit has to be issued by the city. So I think that's probably what the cost may be, is just the cost of the permit and the cost of that inspection. But they have to cover all the costs of having the piece inspected that is required in order to, the backflow, what they call it is a backflow device. That has to be certified and inspected, and then a permit has to be issued by us. And then we have to inspect it when it's put on to make sure that it's correct. So whether or not that's an adequate amount of money to do all that, I don't know, but.
Tyler, would you suggest that needs to be more?
So I think on this one, because we can always just bring it back if that's a concern that the council brought up, I would take that assignment to follow up and get the details of what actually happens and what needs to happen and
Okay.
under what conditions we even allow it. I don't, you know,
That'd give you a better feel to report on what an actual cost would be then. wouldn't it?
yeah, so at least I could make a recommendation on.
Sure. Let's
It's
do
just
that.
one of the parts that we didn't get into on this last revision, so.
Yeah, fair enough.
We just don't want secondary water into our culinary system, or that's
And I kind of feel like the fee schedule makes it look a little more simple than I can't imagine that it's just that simple to come in, pay $50 and make a switch, right? Like,
That's a good point.
that's
if it is, then I need to follow that model to streamline a lot of our other services.
It is not that simple. It's
Yeah.
very complicated, so.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think, I just assume that it was structured this way so it wasn't a disincentive to make sure that someone had eyes on it and made sure it was done appropriately. So.
I think that's appreciate bringing up, Tony, discuss that. That's a take back to staff, come up with a recommendation, come back another time with that one. Any other questions or anything else you note on the fee schedule? Eric?
I don't have any questions. I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, the thing I keep thinking is this is a living document. I think we've
Yes.
seen it in the last few years right in front of us, kind of an annual thing. And I think if we can clarify some of that water meter stuff up, kind of understand the process better. But at this point in time, I mean, really, it's again a living document. So I think it's on our agenda to pass it kind of tonight. I think we can go ahead and do that.
Jeffrey?
No,
I feel comfortable with where we're at right now, and we can make changes and movement when we need to.
So if I can summarize what I'm hearing, go ahead, Jeff. If I summarize what I'm hearing, like, they changed in yellow that are in your document. I think we feel pretty good about passing those tonight. And then Ty has got a couple of assignments with staff to come back on the net metering concept and on the cross connection concept. Those two items I heard discussed, come back with information on those two items. If that's a fair summary, I'll entertain either more discussion or a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we pass ordinance 21-03 and ordinance amending Title I, Chapter 1.5 of the Morgan City Code, amending the fees of the consolidated fee schedule.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Eric, second by Tony. Do we pass ordinance 2103, an ordinance amending Title I, Chapter 1.15 of the Morgan City Code? Basically, the code and fee schedules. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
Well, if it's passed, if it's passed as is, which is fine with me. So I guess I'm hearing that Ty would sit down with staff and take a look at it. And if we needed to make a change on that, culinary to secondary, we could, like I said, it's a living document. We could do that at any time. So I'm
So, one other question on your motion, Eric, your second, Tony, does that include removing the council room rental?
Oh, yeah, we want to remove the council room rental.
Is your motion stated accept everything as is? Do you want to add that to your motion?
Yes, I do.
Remove the council room rental and accept all other changes as noted.
Yes, that would be a great motion.
Tony is seconded. Do you approve that?
I'll second that.
Okay. The motion then states, if I can state it, we would pass ordinance 2103, ordinance on city fees, pass the ordinance as proposed with the change in yellow with removal of this council room rental fee. Any further discussion on that motion? Okay, since it's an ordinance, we'll call for roll call vote. Jeff?
aye,
Eric?
Aye.
Tony?
Aye.
David,
Aye.
and Jeffrey.
Aye.
Okay, a motion passed unanimously with 5 ayes. Appreciate that. Okay. Next item on the agenda is item number 7, city reports and business. I'll let Ty start off with his reports, and then we'll come to the council reports after Ty finishes. So Ty, would you like to start your manager reports?
Sure. So, let me see this first one. Okay, so IT. We're getting ready to do a RFP for IT services. The Five Nines is the company that we've been using. They had one person assigned to our office that no longer works with Five Nines. So Five Nines is a communications company, not an IT company. And so we've got a temporary company that I met with to keep us going for the next couple months on a month-to-month basis, but we are going to be putting out a request for proposal to see what IT services we can solicit on a contractual basis. The new learning management software is a pilot program that the Utah Local Governments Trust is funding. We agreed to participate. It'll give us full access for all of our employees to take online trainings and get credit and build kind of our own training program. It dovetails perfectly into our safety incentive program because we have a training requirement. So we're pretty excited to get signed up and take advantage of that. So that includes like the sexual harassment, customer service, integrity, ethics. There's all kinds of different training topics in there, and it's a self-guided, watching videos, answering questions format. So we'll just make that available to our employees at no cost to us. So our requirement is just to give them feedback on how beneficial we found it and any suggestions we have on, content or anyway, how that works for the city. So it's a big resource for a small city like ours. So I'm hopeful and excited that the Local Governments Trust is helping us out with some of the training needs.
Does that come with any certifications?
Yeah, so each employee has its own training record, so I can print reports and see, validate which employees passed which courses. I can set the schedule. We're just barely getting signed up for it now, so I don't know all of the ins and outs, but I can select, here's a group of the trainings that I want all of our employees to take, and then make sure that they've all taken them. It's not, the certification is just basically that they finished the courses. It's not
Okay.
more than that. But it does give us a training record, so I can print that, to shore up, on the back end. I can show that we take, for example, sexual harassment's given every year.
Mm-hmm.
Every employee has taken it, that sort of thing. So as an
Something
employer, it shows that we make the effort.
Something that could be beneficial in an annual review, perhaps.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why, when I said it fits into our safety program perfectly, that's one of our requirements. And then at the end of the year, when I review their efforts, each employee will have their own training record in an online system that I can look at. So that'll be good. So we met today in our management meeting, just since the state lifted the statewide mask mandate, and we're comfortable. We're going to change the sign on the city door that just says masks encouraged instead of masks required. We have a separation from the public and our employees. inside the office, the employees have all been given an opportunity to receive a vaccine or, get vaccinated if they chose. We had kind of a preference with the health department where they would work our employees in. We made that opportunity available to them. So that's just the direction we're going. As city staff, we're still going to be respectful, and if an employee wants to wear a mask, they're more than welcome to. And then we're still going to, check with someone, make sure that they're comfortable if we're in a close proximity or for prolonged time. And then the other thing that we're going to do is continue to not come to work sick. That's been a huge improvement in the way that we normally operate. Usually, you come to work sick because you want to save your sick days for mental health. You don't want to use your leave on a healthy day. That would be ridiculous. So anyway, we're committed to doing that. So I just wanted to let the council know that's kind of where we're at as a city operation, unless you see that differently. We don't have large amounts of public that come in at the same time. So, I don't view it as a huge concern at this point. Our city or county numbers, our 7-day average is pretty low. I think the mayor was telling me it's 3 or 4.
It's 3.1 today. It's been 3 yesterday, 4 last week.
Those are new cases?
7-day average, yes, that's our 7-day average.
Yeah, new cases our last death was in February. And I think the most vulnerable population in the county has also been vaccinated. Our numbers, those vaccination clinics, I think, have been going really well. So I just wanted to, I don't have any answers on this next one, but the American Rescue Plan funds were released. So that was that last round of not CARES Act, because this is a different act, but COVID money basically. And the cities, the state knows the dollar amount. They have a projection of what each county and what city is going to receive, but what we don't have is what's eligible and what the parameters are. I think that last round of funding, I don't know if we ever even got to a resolution on what's allowable and what's not allowable. We just did the best we could. The interesting thing about this next round, though, is it does include the word infrastructure. So what that means, I don't know, but if we have the opportunity to improve some of our infrastructure, that would be a huge opportunity for us to put money towards some of our infrastructure needs. So, as we find out more, I hope to find out more at the League of Cities and Towns Conference as part of the legislative updates and whatnot, but I don't know that they'll have answers back from the Treasury by then. So we'll see how that goes. I think it was the last meeting when we talked, or 2 meetings ago, we talked about, maybe it was a month ago, I don't know, but we talked about dogs at the cemeteries, and the council's aware that we had a concern, and I brought it to the council, and the council just wanted to keep on the path, and we did receive an email and I drafted a response to that. So you can make edits or any suggestions you want to that response, so we can reply. I don't want to overstep my bounds because the email was sent directly to the mayor and council. I'm happy to send that out from me on behalf of the mayor and council. You can make whatever changes and the mayor can send it out if you would like to reply, or you can just not reply altogether if you want. So
the complaint I read today that you've drafted, that individual you're sending this letter to, was he upset that we weren't letting dogs in the cemetery, or we were letting dogs in the cemetery?
No, the original issue was because we did let dogs in, and this was a reply to that response, because we put up signs and we started to enforce not letting dogs into the cemetery, and this individual was upset about that,
Not letting dogs into the cemetery.
not letting dogs in.
He
Yep.
thinks they should be allowed in there, right?
Yeah, and really, if you read through the email, it talks about lack of park space and some other things. And so, you know, that's kind of what I put in my response. That I actually don't remember what I wrote in the response, but I did draft one for you to, as a starting point, if you'd like, or if you'd like me to just, you know, reply, I can do that as well, so.
I read both letters, the one from the commenter and then your response. And I think you've drafted a letter that will work. Maybe, and I wouldn't have a problem having that come from you for sure. Maybe you and Ray could decide how it's best sent back. But I had just one recommendation, but very small. But do you want me to just email that back to you?
Sure. Yeah, it'd be great. And if everybody else is okay with that, I can just send it. Just, you know, say, you know, this letter was forwarded to me from the council and asked me to respond. And I think that's
Yeah.
appropriate. I just didn't want to do it without, you know.
I'm
checking with
good
the
with
council.
that, Ty.
What's that?
Yeah,
I'm
I
good.
think that, you know, I think you maybe could mention that the council has brought it up again and asked that you respond to it, and that there was discussion concerning, you know, his email in particular.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, Tony, Eric, Jeffrey?
I appreciate Ty taking the initiative to kind of put that draft together for us. So thank you, Ty, to kind of taking that and doing that for us.
Yeah, you bet. We had a good, in our management meeting, we had a little bit of that same discussion about our communication flow and to improve that. Sometimes I take things and just handle them instead of passing them on to my department heads and letting them handle things. And so I'm kind of like right in between, and we're trying to do a little bit better job at that, getting it, you know, if it's a council decision, I definitely would defer to council, and I don't mind representing the council on this response. And literally, it probably should have come directly to me or to the parks and cemetery manager to begin with. And coming from me, I think just helps train people that, you know, just start with the city. And if you don't get if we don't handle it appropriately, then it becomes more appropriate to send to the council. If they don't like how
I think you're spot on. Yeah.
So,
Good way to do it.
Good.
If you have any other thoughts, please email them to Ty, you know.
Can I ask one question on this subject? Has this been the only guy that we've heard any kind of feedback from on this? What
No,
we've done, I mean, I realize that, you know, I read the letter and I realize he's upset, et cetera, but have we heard anything else from
Yeah,
this?
yeah, formally, no, but our, you know, Roe does get the comments. So when you put up a sign and people ask why, most of the time, you know, people are curious, but then they understand, right? So our staff has answered questions from a handful of people, and people take it differently, but this is the only formal, you know, written response. Everything else has just been handled in person, so, or by phone, so. But
After reading his letter and your response, I still feel strongly that we need to protect the sanctity of the cemetery, and I'm completely fine with not having dogs in there. So thank you for putting some time in and effort to responding to that.
yeah, no problem. Another item that's not on the list, just we've been working on kind of with the shifted duties and the way we've reorganized kind of the public works, and in the office, we've created a new position in the office, which is a executive assistant, which basically will work directly for me. So I'm letting you know I'm soliciting my own help. There'll be a help in the office, but we created a position and we'll get that posted here shortly, see what we get as far as a response. But keeping me organized, handling some of the communications and some of the time consuming tasks will just give me the ability to stay on track and be productive, you know. But basically this person will do my calendar, my emails, my to-do list, keep me on track of what doesn't slip through the cracks, make sure responses get back, help me draft letters, help me apply for grants, and then also help in the office with answering phones, covering shifts and lunches and that sort of thing. So we'll be, if you see that job posted, that's what that's for. So if you know anybody that's interested, encourage them to apply. But I think it'll be a good addition if we get the right person. That's what it always comes down to. If you can get the right person, it'll be awesome. So just another update. We're working on the new budget. I feel like we're a little bit behind the normal schedule, but I have an amended budget, and our tentative budget will be the first meeting in May. And then the schedule would be to adopt the final budget the first meeting in June instead of the last meeting in June. I'm going to shoot for the first meeting in June just in case we have any final changes. It gives us one more meeting to adopt it. So hopefully early June we can have the budget adopted. And then of course the pending thing there is depending on what the suggested sales tax rate comes in. We're doing the budget. We have our personnel costs, we have a lot of things figured out. The benefits that we just talked about tonight can be incorporated now. It's just if the tax commission recommends a crazy property tax rate, then like what happened last year, then I may recommend we do a truth and taxation hearing again. But
When does that information come?
Anytime now.
Okay.
Never comes soon enough. We're always hoping that so first part of May, about the exact same time, but I'm gonna budget with the budget number that I have. And then if the sales tax, I keep saying sales tax, but if the property tax rate, certified property tax rate supports or is pretty close to that same budget number, we go with it. If I feel like it's headed in the wrong direction, then I'll bring that up like I did again last year and just see how you want to handle it. So.
Okay.
So
I believe the whole year's gone by.
That's kind of the path we're on. So just a calendar item, the Chamber Golf Tournament is June 4th. Had a planning meeting this morning with the Chamber. It sounds like a good one. We're going to do a whole sponsor or a hole-in-one this year. So a big prize, potentially win a car type of a prize on a par 3. One of the par 3s this year. So we're working through that, but that seems to be an event. It's building momentum. I think this will be the 4th time we've had it. So
Can you give them one of our surplus vehicles?
They're all gone.
that's not in our surplus policy, but we will be getting rid of a bucket truck here soon. So
that works. That or a tractor.
Yeah. We have an old sweeper that we can't keep running. So
even better.
Yeah. I think that's most of my, I think that's all of my updates that I remember, unless I'm missing something, Denise.
Hey, Dave, how are you with your 3-wood? Think you could get one to the green with a 3-wood?
I won't be bringing anything home.
They might get lucky.
No, that's for sure.
Okay, I think that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Do you want to mention anything on annexation versus water extension? Having you had that, just to think, not particular, but just think on the concept.
Yeah, so just so that council know, we've had a couple of requests to offer culinary water to more county connections. We have a meeting about it on one of the proposals coming up. And at some point, we need to just decide, are we gonna keep doing that, or under what circumstances, keep it case by case, or require people to request annexation and just do the full deal. We did that last one we did was the water line was already right out in front of his house. It was an existing home, but now we're getting requests to do brand new builds and provide water, and causes a little bit of issues in the long term. And even though we do have standalone water rates, our administrative staff are funded out of general fund dollars. And so either we look at the rate and make sure it's adequate, or anyway, that's coming. We're going to have a couple proposals coming pretty soon. So just be thinking about how you feel about that. And unless something changed at the legislative session, Gary, that tells us the cities are no longer allowed to make another decision on something.
We came close on water. Really.
Yeah, they really frown on providing services outside of your jurisdiction, political jurisdiction, so.
Yeah, they do. And they want you to make sure you meter all your secondary, but they don't want you to increase it more than 10%
Right.
a year. So magically do that. It's making bricks without straw, I think is what it's called.
Yes.
Yeah. Denise, you have anything else? This
No.
one? Okay, all right. Gary, maybe you think you need to get pass on anything legislative. I'll put it on the council first. Council, anything else you'd like to bring up, or questions or input? Jeff, do you have anything else? Okay, Eric. Okay, Tony. Okay, David.
I have one item. Since our last meeting, the hotel had a ribbon cutting ceremony, and our mayor was asked to be part of the program, if you will. He gave a presentation, but it was impressive to hear the commendations that the builders, the owners of the hotel, had towards our Mayor Little. In fact, suggested that the process was facilitated. It wouldn't have gone as smooth as it could have without his guidance and help along the way. So well done, Ray Little.
I concur. So the mayor and I have a good cop, bad cop routine, and we exercised it in a lot of those meetings. And afterwards, I'd turn to him and say, wait a minute, when were you good cop? Like, why are you good cop today? He was supportive of that project all the way through. So
yeah,
awesome.
Thank you, David. Jeffrey, anything else you got? Okay. Gary, anything you think from legislative scenario that you think we need here tonight, you want to pass on to us?
No, we're working on a couple of items still, because there will be a special session in May. And you heard that the governor vetoed 98, which is the design bill. I think that will be back on the agenda again, because it was really just the flood control, the FEMA concerns that the governor was concerned about. And so that will be back on the agenda. But there's another piece of Bill 409, HB 409, that's pretty devastating to cities. And it's a piece that says that if you have an old subdivision that's been approved, that the laws that were in effect in that old subdivision, when that old subdivision was approved, are in effect for a period of 10 years. And so you can't change any law regarding anything for a 10-year period of time. So it kind of locks us in to sometimes you'll find something that needs to be changed because it's just bad practice. And that section would not let you change that. So I think we've talked the developers into reversing that in this upcoming session, special session. Other than that, I look forward to seeing all of you down in St. George, or as many as are going. I think there will be a lot of good information down there, especially in light of everything that happened up the legislature on ADUs and fiber. Utopia is going like mad in a lot of places, but Morgan, it's interesting. Morgan was always the group that went to the Utopia table and gathered around and was looking at putting things together in Morgan City. And now you guys are the leaders out there as far as the applications that you're putting it to. And Ty was telling me the other day that they're looking at actually doing telemetry with it as well, which is really, that's a big deal. And the more uses you can get for it, the farther ahead Morgan City will be than any city in the country. So I'm excited to go down there and see you down. How many are going down? Or is anybody going down?
Jeffrey is.
Okay.
I am.
Tony is. I'm just be online.
Okay.
David aren't usually.
I'll be online also. I'll be virtual.
Yeah.
There will be some good things down there. And so I'm glad whatever way you're able to participate, that'll be a good thing. So thank you.
Ty, do you want me to give the vendors down there your phone number this year so they can all come in?
No.
Oh, come on.
So I'm getting an executive assistant. So if you would like their number.
But he does want you to collect all the goodies that every vendor offers down there.
Not even those. So
Yeah.
limited to golf balls. I did like that sleeve of golf balls. You gave me that one conference we were at. So,
Well, I'll be happy to send them all your way if you want. But
well, they're for right-handed players, and so that you don't have a use for them.
that's correct. They don't.
Okay.
Thanks.
If there's not anything else, thank you, Gary. If there's anything else, we need to go into closed session. We will not adjourn this meeting. I'll let Denise kind of give us the direction. We're going to go into make a motion into closed session. We need to state the purpose of the closed session. Then Denise will send us a new link to sign up and go into the new session, which will be a closed session. So look at your emails, check those. And once we close this out, then come back into the closed session. I need a motion first, move into closed session, and please state the reasons on your paper.
Mayor, I move that we go into a closed session for the discussion of the character, professional competency, or physical or mental health of an individual. And the strategy session, that part to discuss purchase, exchange, or lease of real property. No.
Is there a second?
Mayor.
Okay, motion by Tony, second by Jeffrey, that we go into closed session for the two purposes. One, discussion of the character, professional competency, or physical or mental health of the individual, and strategy session to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, go into closed session, give me a thumbs up. Okay, unanimously, motion passes. We'll now go into closed session. Okay, so Denise will close. You need to close this, Denise, or do I have to leave?
No, I'll end this meeting and then
Okay.
send another link.
Okay, all right. Watch your link and join us again.